Hello everyone and welcome to Dutch Greybeard. I found 3 reading experiences in my vault from books by Ki Longfellow that are worth making into a video. The first one that I published recently was about her most popular novel, The Secret Magdalene. Today I want to go back to my review on Flow Down Like Silver, Ki's novel about Hypatia of Alexandria. This book is the second of her Divine Feminine series, which was supposed to be 3 books. The author did work on the 3rd book, but she never got around to finishing it before she passed away in 2022. A couple of days after making this video, I learned that Ki Longfellow did finish this novel, and it's going to be published. The working title of the book is The White Bee, and according to Sydney, the book has got some fantasy element or elements in it. I cannot wait to get my hands on a copy of this work. I read Flow Down Like Silver in December of 2009, and I rated it 100 points out of 100. So they do exist. One warning beforehand. There are going to be some spoilers in what follows. Not much, but again, for those of you who are sensitive to spoilers, even if they're minor, this video may not be for you. Here's my reading experience from 2009. I've been reading books now for roughly 35 years, and during that time, many authors have passed my eyes. Up until now, I never made a list of my favorite authors of all time. The reason for making this list now is because a recent revelation made me add one more name to this list. The first 2 authors on this top 15 are ranked, while the others are lined up in random order. 1. William Horwood, mainly because of his novels The Stone or Eagles and Skelligrig. Number 2. Jeroen Brouwers, a Dutch author with only 1 book translated into English as far as I know, Sunken Red. Marcel Proust, the author of the amazing À la recherche du temps perdu, translated into English as Remembrance of Things Past. José Saramago, a Portuguese Nobel Prize winner. Isaac Bashevis Singer, also a Nobel Prize winner who wrote his many novels in Yiddish. Gustave Flaubert, particularly because of his letters. Paul Auster. Chaim Potok. Carlos Ruiz Savon. Haruki Murakami. Neil Donald Walsh. Rainer Wynne. Robert Heinlein. Imre Kertész. Ki Longfellow. The name added to this list, of course, is Ki Longfellow. After reading The Secret Magdalene last March, I was completely overwhelmed by the sheer depth of the story she presented to me. Not just the depth of the story, but also the beauty of her language. The solid composition of the book thrilled me. Having read her latest novel, Flow Down Like Silver, Hypatia of Alexandria, I know that The Secret Magdalene was not a one-time high. This lady, I'm referring to the author now, contains gold, and I can only hope that she is given the perseverance and the time to share more of her artistic wealth with us. As in The Secret Magdalene, Gnosis plays a major role in Flow Down Like Silver, although less prominent. Silver relates the story of the last 24 years of the 4th and 5th century scientist Hypatia of Alexandria, as told through the eyes of different characters. We learn how Hypatia grows up, as if she were a son to her father. Being left with only daughters by his wife, who died in childbirth from the 3rd child, he chooses Hypatia, the middle one, to follow in his footsteps as a teacher of mathematics, philosophy, science, music, and so on. Her older sister, Lace, is a mysterious and introvert character. She seems to understand life, its meaning, or she is simply content with the fact that life just lacks all meaning. There is something acquiescent about her. She and Hypatia love each other very much, as the latter in the beginning of the book says, "My sister, more precious than the beating of my own heart." Her younger sister, Joan, is not loved by her father. In his eyes, she caused the death of his wife, and for this he ignores her, and with that he is branding her for life. It is not surprising that she is the most tragic of the three sisters. One of the main characters in the book, Minka the Egyptian, summarizes, "Hypatia is all mind, Lais all spirit, Joan all bodily emotion." The story starts in the year 391. In Roman Egypt, the new religion, Christianity, is on the rise. These Christians are raiding the libraries of the city and are burning books that, in their eyes, are superfluous. Throughout the story, it becomes painfully clear that the actions of many so-called Christians have nothing whatsoever to do with the intentions of the one they claim to follow, Jesus. Lais is the neutral observer, free of judgment or any urge to evangelize her point of view. But the young Hypatia is furious about the way the Christians burn books. Then Lais says this, "What they love is not this life, but the one that follows. If you were they, poor, ignorant, suffering without privilege of any earthly kind, might you too not listen to this new faith which promises so much after death?" At this Hypatia marvels, "My sister is Theodidactos, God taught." This book is filled with allusions to or direct descriptions of alchemy. Even the Atalanta Fugiens appears very briefly, Hermes Trismegistus, and all that goes up and comes down with noses. The table Hypatia inherits from her mother, made of stone as green as emeralds, might be in fact the emerald tablet that is said to reveal the secret of primordial substance and how life as we know it came into being. In The Secret Magdalene, the whole journey towards Gnosis is stronger interwoven into the story. In Flow Down Like Silver, I find it is more hidden between the lines, although hard to miss for an interested reader. Lais knows Gnosis. She intuitively knows the all. Hypatia has to make a long and arduous journey, but at an early age she understands the bliss that surrounds Lais. I think if I desire anything, I desire this, to know what Lais knows. Hypatia repeatedly asks herself who she is and what her contribution to mankind is. Occasionally the reader is confronted with the real backgrounds of the Christian faith and its rites and symbols, with the cults of Mithras, Isis and Osiris, and much more that justifies the question of how original the Christian faith really is. More than once does Hypatia question her contribution or her being. "I am only what I am, a thing of the mind, questioning constantly all it sees and all it hears. I believe nothing, not even what my senses assure me is so, for fear that by holding to one belief I lose the possibility of another." For Hypatia, asking questions is a way of life, a way of constantly checking if her reality still is her home. It is the way of the scientist who is continuously seeking proof of what his senses tell him. After a fierce discussion on religion with a Christian, she realizes one who believes is like a lover. He would hear nothing ill of his beloved. Or later on, "I ask Christians, where are your questions? Where are your great doubters, those who lead us all to discovery?" During a visit to Constantinople, Hypatia shows courage by questioning Atticus, the bishop of this Byzantine capital. As he rambles on about the low place the woman has, Hypatia speaks up. To hear the ignorant speak out with authority is a great evil. You repeat what you have heard. You question nothing. You expect no one to question you. Again, I underlined very much in this book. Sentences that struck me as pure poetry, parts that delivered insight or that rare shock of recognition. As shown above, there's a lot of questioning about the Christian faith. One of the things that I, for instance, have always wondered about is the strong rules that Islamic, Jewish or Christian faiths enforce regarding the human body. The many dietary rules, the cloaking of the female body to extremes, circumcision. Ki Longfellow lets Hypatia say it thus: "If God created the world and all that is in the world, how then can anything made by his hand be impure?" A very just question. Hypatia has hidden many of the forbidden books that she saved from the raiding and arsonist Christians in a cave in the desert. After the early death of her beloved sister Lays, her poetry is added to this secret library. Later on, Hypatia comes across Gnostic Gospels that had lain hidden under an old temple for hundreds of years. This find, with the Gospel of Mary Magdalene among them, prompts Hypatia to write her own path to glory. The Book of Impossible Truth. Names that we know from the Secret Magdalene come forth like Seth of Damascus, and once again the subjection of women is condemned strongly. Man has come to fear woman's sexual power, before which he is helpless, so turns it back on her, making her the one who is helpless. At the very end of her life, when it has become clear to her that the end of science and therewith of her part in the world is very near, she hides these books in the cave. The Nag Hammadi scrolls that were found in 1945 are located about 350 miles to the south of Alexandria. Wouldn't it be wonderful to believe that there is still a place somewhere near Alexandria where in a cave are many jars containing not only Gnostic Gospels, but also many of the lost books from the ancient library of Alexandria. It is a long walk through the cave, and Hypatia loses her way. Lost in the utter darkness, she realizes that this may very well be the end. It is one of the most impressive parts of the novel, filled with highly insightful phrases. Again, Hypatia wonders what the meaning of her life is. What did it serve? All I have done is learn, only to learn this one last true thing. I know nothing. Even though this truth breaks her heart, she gradually accepts it. She undergoes the alchemical process of death and being reborn. I am snatched away from me, and suddenly I fall out of myself, and then I fall into myself completely. In this scene, she finally finds Gnosis. It is one of the most beautiful pieces of prose I've ever read about the core of Gnosis, and it comes very close to finally catching in words this what is and remains beyond words. The reader who knows can almost feel the transition. Incredibly beautiful also are the final words of Minka the Egyptian when he's on the verge of his death. He is the great love in the life of Hypatia, and she is his. I'll not repeat them here, for I've quoted more than enough from this superb novel. The best review would be to hand over the book itself. So, to all you questioners, searchers and lovers of beauty in words out there, please read Flow Down Like Silver, Hypatia of Alexandria by Ki Longfellow. Thank you very much for watching this video. Until we meet again at Dutch Greybeard.